Hello everyone and welcome to the Impact Play, impacting more than just gaming. I'm your show host, Mohammed, otherwise known as It's Yagu. We are your one-stop news shop for the latest and greatest across gaming, tech, entertainment, sports, and music. Plus, we're also amplifying voices from those respective fields and having their stories told here on the Impact Play. Its work keeps it's running and keeps the content rolling. You can support us over at anchor.fm /McPlay /support or via Patreon. We'll serve recruited above, get the show ad free. Go to recruited above, have exclusive access to not only the post show, but early access and so much more. Learn more and become a Patreon supporter today at patreon.com /McPlay. Review by using Epic creator code /McPlay. We are Epic partners. So every purchase you make when you use that creator code, whether you buy anything in Rocket League, Fortnite, even Fall Guys. So again, that creator code is the Epic Play. It's all one word and it's not case sensitive. This is the Impact Play Spoilercast, episode 192, where we will be reviewing the third season of the Umbrella Academy. So stay tuned and enjoy. Please keep in mind that this will have spoiler tidbits as well, hence the name Spoilercast. But before we begin, this is a Patreon exclusive for our Golden Recruits and above. They get the first dibs on this content and more. If you guys are interested and getting your hands on this, again, the URL is patreon.com /McPlay. For everyone else, this will be available publicly later on podcast services around the globe, as well as YouTube and all that good stuff. So be on the lookout for that content coming your way soon, as well as a bunch of others. But nonetheless, Umbrella Academy Season 3 was... It raised questions as it began, answered most of them, and then at the very last episode, it raised even more questions. but it was interesting to say. So let's get right into this spoiler cast, folks. So nonetheless, it was a 10 episode season. The episodes were about 30 minutes, so if you could binge it if you want, and you'll get through it very quickly. And of course, this was, I believe, the third time jump after solving an apocalypse. And guess what happened? No, the second time jump after, they went through 2 apocalypses, and this is the third one. It's the name season 3. Literally, as soon as they landed in a completely different timeline, where apparently they didn't exist, and the Umbrella Academy was apparently renamed, not renamed, but I guess the Sparrow Academy was founded in its place. Well, no, founded where the Umbrella Academy was supposed to be. And then the funny thing was, as it began, completely different kids essentially were there, except one familiar face was part of that Sparrow group as well, which was Ben, who was recently deceased. Not recently deceased, but deceased, since season 1. But, I should say their version of Ben, I should say. But they thought they saved the universe, ended in a completely different timeline, but ended up messing up things once again. So ended up bringing the Grand Cuckoo Plux. What do they call it exactly? Hold on. Let me see. The Cuckoo Blitz, which is the grandfather paradox. So essentially, they didn't cause it directly, it was indirectly. So it was, what's her name now? Let me see. The Umbrella Academy. Vanya. So Vanya in season 2 saves this kid in Dallas, I believe. this young kid in Dallas from drowning, saved his life, and unintentionally transferred some of her power to him. And that's where things get interesting. The kid was the son of someone that she got close to. The mother of the kid. What was his name? Let's see. What was his name? Uh, what was his name? Let's see. What was his name? Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Harlan was the kid's name, and which was Sissy's son. But she ended up as soon as she passed, he lost full control of his powers. But what he was kind of trying to do was trying to find Vanya, or other I guess her new name, which is Victor. She ended up I guess recognized as a man, which is as him, as the whole family recognized and accepted, which is fine. But nonetheless, trying to find Victor because she said that she would come back to them, but essentially she never did. She got stuck in timeline and all that stuff that umbrellas usually do. But nonetheless, he inadvertently used his powers to try to locate Victor, but unintentionally, not exactly locating them, but ended up he like what his powers, how he said it himself, is like a tuning fork in his head, where he could, as soon as he's close to one of the umbrellas, it starts digging like crazy. So it's like a sonar. Essentially, he was trying to find them throughout time. And what did he find? Their mothers. Because how the sparrows and the umbrellas, essentially, they were born. Random women were, even though they never had SCX, I don't but yeah, and they ended up just being pregnant out of nowhere, and then that same, and literally at the same moment giving birth as well. And so that's how they have mothers but not fathers, essentially. So, how the grandfather paradox began was Harlan tried to, I guess, was able to locate their mothers of all the umbrella, I guess kids, students, whatever. But nonetheless, ended up killing them as well. Their eyes started pouring in blood, and their ears were gushing out blood as well. So he ended up killing them, which we found out later on as well, as the series progressed. So, as he did that, Victor, of course, kept it to himself. They didn't tell the rest of the family like he usually does, and just expects their, I guess, their forgiveness, acceptance, whatever. But yeah, so that's how the grandfather paradox began. So they were transported to another timeline where they weren't born. So that's how, essentially, and then what happened in that exact timeline was their mothers were essentially killed on the day that they were supposed to be born. So how we knew this, well, we didn't know this at first. We knew because Klaus and Five ended up taking a little road trip to Pennsylvania to locate, I guess, Klaus's mother. But we found out later on from his aunt that she died the same on their exact birthday. And then we also found out later on that all their mothers passed on that same day. As I try to figure it out, literally. And then they also I guess the sparrows there's of course there's 7 of them. Then there's one. Their number one is kind of like I'm botching on the names now. It's like, sheesh, hold on, let me see if I can get the names. Okay. Umbrellas and Sparrows. Ben Slan. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Sparrows. Oh, here it is. Da da da. Okay. So essentially there was 7 new kids, essentially. And then, what's his name? I'm botching on his name. Uh, mm, mm, where are you? Oh, okay, let's see. Hmm. Give me a second. Let me look up their name. I'm really botching on their name. Luther. Luther. So Luther and Sloane of the Sparrow Academy kind of fell in love with each other, and they they essentially got married in this series as literally the world was ending. And what we found out from the Cuckoo Blitz, instead of it of a paradox, it's essentially the whole universe collapsing in on itself. So it's the opposite of the Big Bang. So it's everything is crutching in, and until everything is absorbed. Uh, so the main courses, what should I say? So they ended up staying in a hotel Obsidian, the Umbrella Academy. They ended up staying there. Klaus was familiar with it, but unfamiliar at the same time. It ended up being built by this new timeline's version of their father, Hargreaves. Dr. Hargreaves, I guess I could say. But nonetheless, here's where it gets interesting. The hotel was essentially built around a doorway, and then the Buffalo Suite is I guess um, is what he called it, where it's like a portal where it leads to another dimension, kind of in a sense. So literally, as the universe was collapsing, and then literally at the as Lucifer and Sloane got married, their father uh, ended up killing what's his name, Lucifer? Let me see. Yeah, ended up killing no Luther. Ended up killing Luther as a, I guess, to bring the family together because they were voting as to go in and into that portal essentially, and or get killed or just essentially just let the universe collapse in on itself. So it was half half. So they didn't decide to. So what the father did was to enable them to go in was kill was kill Luther, and then he ended up killing Klaus as well as he was trying to get in. But with Klaus, his ability is he could come back to life. So he's essentially immortal. And then as we learned that throughout the middle of, I guess as the series was progressing, he was training Klaus to, I guess, quote unquote, hone his skills, which was all, which we, oh, wait, oh, here's a good note too. All of this, him claiming the seven, I guess, children that are born out of nowhere, the sparrows or the umbrellas, either way in both timelines, he was doing it for his own selfish reason. And in season, I believe season 1, where he sent Luther to the moon, was because it was to protect his wife, which we found out later on in this season. That she passed away to protect her, her body. And then all of this was to enable them to hone their skills and what have you. Was literally for his own selfish reason to resurrect her. That's all. And we also found out that he's some type of alien. He's not of this world. Because I don't know, his hands transformed, or he was, or whatever, but he transformed into this knife type thing that was curving and moving, and he ended up slashing Lucifer at. And then we found out that Klaus has this ability. He's able to transport himself into a void, which is his own little pocket universe, I guess, of a sort. And him and Luther were there as well because they were both killed by their father. So Lucy ended up explaining to Claude, you have to get back, warn our family, and what have you. So he did, and he warned them. And yeah. So there was, I guess, 3 guardians that were protecting the 7 quote unquote bells that they had to ring or whatever to start some spaceship sort of thing. So they nearly died, and then 5 had his, as 5 was realizing how to unlock I guess that citadel, whatever it's called. Hold on, let me see if I could find it. Let me see if I could find that right now. Give me a second. Uh, and the thing about the Hotel Obsidian was it was like a transforming maze where the hotel was coming to life and moving around, and they realized afterwards that wait a minute, what happened? Where's everybody? They ended up finding other people of both families, and they were able to to find each other, and then solve the puzzle. Let me see. Let me find this real quick. The Real Academy. Hmm. You see. Okay, so yeah. So essentially, what was the surprise was there was this one last guardian that came out of nowhere from the ceiling and slashed Five's hand out of nowhere. I'm like, ugh. And then they were able to, I guess, transport themselves inside of a ship. And then Hargreaves was in order to not the ship, but like I guess like a way to reset the not reset the universe, but to he did it. He used the excuse of resetting the universe, but what he essentially was doing was rebuilding it in his own image, where his wife is alive. So he ended up doing that, and then as the Umbrella Academy walked, I actually no. Before we get to there, um, Allison, I forgot to mention this earlier. As Victor was, no, as Harlan was trying to give Victor's part of his power back to him. Allison thought it was risky for Victor, could risk his life, and wanted them to stop. And of course, she has to whisper. I heard a rumor to do what she would do. What for you to do what she wants. And then as she entered that little sphere of energy that was created around them, it was amplified. Where she didn't need to. All she had to say was the words "do this, do that," and then that's exactly what happened. And then as the Umbrella and the Sparrow Kids were, I guess their bodies were being absorbed into the machine the Hargreaves was trying to rebuild the universe in his own image. He used an excuse like, it's fine now, I'm almost done. It's how the machine works, so and then five literally told Allison he's gonna keep doing this until we're all dead. Just do what he wants. He doesn't care about us, which he's proven himself over and over again. So we did that. So she tried to, I guess, use her abilities on him, but apparently he was impervious to her abilities, which essentially means he's an alien. So that's probably the reason why. And then if that didn't work, she took a blade, I believe, and just smashed his head in. And of course, we saw the, I guess it looked like more of an exoskeleton, but we know it wasn't human. But she saw a button, a red button flashing. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe this is the way. And then she literally pressed it, and everything, it transported them somewhere inside of what's it called, Obsidian Park. And who got transported was essentially the Umbrella Kids plus their version of Ben, not their version of Ben, the Ben from Spirit Academy Ben. Literally no one else. But Luther was brought back to life, and then all of them were transported there, minus their abilities, so they have none of their powers, nothing. But I have two things to know about that though. what that didn't make sense to me. So, literally, they were brought back to life, right? Luther, who was killed, right, earlier by by their father, but yet their version of Ben wasn't brought back with him. So if they were all brought back together as the original Umbrella Academy, but yet the Sparrows the Sparrows Ben was still with them, but not their actual Ben. So that doesn't make sense. And another note, all their abilities were gone, right? So why is Five stuck in the little kid version of himself, which he was trapped because of his abilities? So it only makes sense for him to actually reflect his own age instead of him being trapped in a little boy's body. Exactly. That was my thought on the last episode of the Umbrella Academy. I'm like, what? Those doesn't make sense. Like, or when the Hargreaves revelation that he was an alien, that blew my mind. I'm like, what? That didn't make sense. But then again, it does make sense because he was so interested in raising them, but not just raising them for just to be selfless. Because he ended up proving himself over and over again that he's selfish, that he's selfish. But yeah, and then we also learned that as Five was trying to find answers, he was transported to that place outside of time, where essentially he he ended up founding the commission, which he found out from seeing his future self. It was funny. Like he got sick of the commission. He wanted to work around, and ended up he was the one person that actually founded the whole thing. But yeah, that was funny. But then in all, I believe that they're gonna do it in season 4. But I feel like they have to do a much better job than they did with season 3. Like the end of season 2 with the Sparrow Academy and what have you was good. But the way they, I guess, whole episode to episode, I feel like they could have done a much better job with it all. Uh, Literally a much better job. Uh, I don't want to give it I guess I don't want to really give it a solid 3. I want to give it a 2.75 out of a 5-star rating. So a little less than a 3-star rating. Because it was okay. It was decent. Like the episodes weren't long. They weren't an hour long, which was the usual length for these shows. But it went by fast. But then again, I wasn't really fully engaged with it. I was fully engaged towards the very end. But that's about it. So it's going to be a 2.75 to a 3-star rating. So I won't give it a solid 2.75 or a solid 3-star. It's going to be a 2.75 to a 3-star rating. So that's it. Please, this rating is simply meant as a guide for you to help you watch the show or develop your own opinions, or you can just fully develop your own opinions and on the complete reverse of my thoughts and take on the show. But nonetheless, this is my own opinion and my own take on the show, my own opinions, being amplified on the platform that is the Impact Play. So thank you guys so much for being with us. And like I said, this is a time exclusive for our Patreon gold recruits and above over on the Patreon side of things. For everyone else, this will be available publicly on youtube.com/THEIMPACTPLAY, as well as podcast services around the globe. So be on the lookout for that content your way, as well as much more content as well. If you guys are interested, be sure to check out the regular recording of the show, the Impact Play, so you could essentially check it out on YouTube, as well as podcast services around the globe. And also, be sure to let us know your feedback on this as well, either on Discord, via email to reademail@theimpactplay.com, or even on a third way, by leaving a voice note over at anchor.fm/TheImpactPlay. So you have those 3 ways to be a part of the show, which is not just us, this is we as a community. We're building this together. So Thank you guys so much. Have a great one. Leave us a review. I'm just hearing on your favorite platform. Thank you guys so much. Have a great one. Until next time, folks.